You know, I want to browse the subreddit because, as a Vaushite myself, I want to challenge my perceptions, how I view information. I want to truly understand my opposition's point of view, right? So we have enough Vaush spam, which is the source and bedrock for a lot of okay buddy Vaush memes because of how absurdly ridiculous this is, right? I will say in their defense, Vaush is a controversial figure. So therefore criticisms will be levied his way. And you should, bring them up. But I guess one thing I will mention though is that any and all jokes, any and all context is relevant to them. And I do find that very honest in the sense of you hate this person so much, nothing's gonna make you flip your point otherwise. And you know what? That honesty is it isn't that obvious anymore. It isn't that present. I love that shit, honestly. So we have here the header. 2018, 2017, and Vaush Tim Pool picture here. We're already painting a picture of he's a pedophile, he's evil, he's a Nazi, he talks to Nazis, he is friends with them right off the bat. So we already know what we're getting into. Delicious. I just want to go down the whole Reddit. I don't have any like general plan in mind. I do find it funny how whatever. Anyway, honestly identical rhetoric to the far right. So, this is actually a good topic to start off on. Okay, so this is the tweet of Mildred, aka Thought Slime, basically saying, "Wow, Vaush is a piece of shit," and displaying his issue. We can just read the tweet here. The tweet is basically saying, "We still have so much work to do making the left for safe for autistic people. In what world is it okay to accuse a neurodivergent queer person of having a piss big meltdown? Disappointing, but hopefully Mildred comes around and realizes the harm they're causing eventually. I'm very concerned about ableism on the left." So the argument against this post is that its rhetoric is identical to the far right because he's basically saying, "I'm concerned about the optics of ableism." And this is gonna be a common theme of not addressing the points and arguments that is wrong with this shit. It's instead saying on the surface level, it looks bad and looks similar to conservatives and therefore it must be bad. And I will say this, on Vaush's current arc of how you say, for lack of better words, ableism, weaponizing that against other woke scolds, while it is effective and useful, it is, I will admit, a wee bit cringe, right? So I will give him that point. It is cringe. But again, it doesn't address the points here. And also ignores what Thought Slime is saying in general, which I want to find this tweet, but it's going to take forever to find that tweet. I'm too lazy to look it up. But I think Vaush would have the first time had about me. Oh, okay. So this must have been him referencing about, I'm reading the lines obviously, about Vaush getting mad at a stream or on a stream about Thought Slime because they had a beef in 2019. And then the clip was resurfaced where Vaush was basically saying, "I could make more money if I was just non-binary because I would take no criticism." That was the whole crux of the argument there. And then my favorite part about reading Reddit is the comments. Let's look at the comments here. He's literally being ironic. He started doing this since the non-compete debate when he claimed he was neurodivergent queer leftist because he accused non-compete, Thought Slime, and Luna of equipping Idpol to sit behind their supposed slimy tactics. So now he's doing it to troll, and also I don't know why, or it flew over everyone's head. In this subreddit, he literally stated, "Got a Vaush simp here. What the fuck?" And start trolling by calling himself a queer neurodivergent person with his chat laughing in the stream as he was saying he was gonna begin utilizing that as a troll tactic, and it's working. So why do they get downvoted? This subreddit, they love Vaush. Why did it get downvoted? I'm gonna investigate this man's history because I want to understand why did this get downvoted at all. Is it because the concept of him trolling and making fun of people like subscribers on enough Vaush spam is a bit too much self-awareness, therefore they want to think like that? Like, what is the end goal of that? I don't know. That's curious. That's curious. Why is it -2? I'm gonna give him. I'm not signing him on. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give him a like. I'm not signing in. Yeah, this makes it very obvious bait to me, but it's also meant to mock what he thinks people like Mildred are. I can see that aspect of it, and I agree, but people are attacking it from the wrong angle and gobbling up the bait in its entirety. Oh, okay. So I was right. So technically, he's not saying that what Vaush is doing is good in the troll sense. He's just saying what it is objectively. He's just trolling them back. We do a little trolling and optically fighting them against their own shield and weapon in their main arguments, which is ableism, bigotry, this, that, and the third. So, okay. I guess confronting the topic at hand made them a little bit angry, but it's only 2 downvotes, so I can get that mad. Aside from being cringeworthy on his face, he attempts to weaponize Idpol against people criticizing him doesn't even work because the original comments make absolutely no reference to his neurodivergent sexuality. So it's a complete and utter failure. I thought winning arguments using shallow rhetorical devices was supposed to be his thing. He can't even do that. Reminder that Vaush is a rich white guy from Beverly Hills whose career is sitting in front of a computer and making shit up on the spot and defame leftists. That is who he is. No amount of invoking identities can defend his actual actions. Okay, it is cringe though. It is cringe. Another point against Vaush. It is cringe. I will say it's not even weaponizing Idpol if it's just true, right? When weaponizing Idpol would be, for example, if someone's giving you an argument. A perfect example. If you try to say that Professor Flowers is thinking or has thought aligned with like Nazi-esque figures, you saying she's black or you comparing black separatists to Nazis as bad because Nazis are worse, that'd be using Idpol as an intermediary to not engage in conversation, but instead distract us from the whole conversation entirely because it shouldn't be brought up in the first place. And I feel like that's the whole argument here, is that that's what he thinks that's happening, but Vaush is addressing the arguments and then piling on the Idpol on top of that. It's like lathering on mayonnaise on top of a fucking chicken salad, like just unnecessarily slimy, but in a good way, in my opinion. And then the hypocrisy of shallow rhetorical device. I haven't heard him say shallow rhetorical devices before, so that's definitely new in there. And this one, I mean, this one is just taking the bait here. You're just invalidating his identity by saying he's white, he's rich, and he is a streamer. But the thing is, if this person is in a subreddit, he also watches other streamers who are also white and who are also leftists and also do nothing but in a career, but sit in front of a computer. Like, he probably watches video essays as well. So, like, but you get the whole gist of it, right? So we're gonna do a couple more. So I'm curious to see how it keeps going right here. All right, cognitive dissonance. This one's kind of funny. Now this one, oh my god, this was interesting because like I actually agree with enough Vaush spam here. So, well, the post is, I feel kind of dumb asking, but how do you guys cope with so many people who hate Vaush and his fans? Like, you get people who are normally very cool and friendly, but then they tweet about Vaush and recite literally every dumb and debunked talking point about him. To be clear, I'm mainly referring to Twitter here. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying like this is dumb in general is because it's the internet, boy. But on the other hand, I will say that a good way to cope with being a Vaush shite and looking at Vaush hate and being okay with it, it's understanding that parasocially, you have no ties to this man whatsoever. He's just some random dude in there who just says shit, right? So am I. Just absolutely relevant. So to completely have to take the burden of like or massive amount of load on your back to defend every single comment you see against Vaush, like I'm doing right now, is going to make you go mentally insane. So you either have to take the route of tripling down and becoming the most staunch parasocial stand defense lord in the world, or just be like me, you know, subscribing to enough Vaush spam because I love the criticism. I feel like I have evolved like it's like a level 3 fucking Akuma type shit, where it's like I'm just in the shit now at this point. Like I'm in the trenches. Like I unironically don't care if people call Vaush pedophile because it doesn't affect me. I don't fucking care. You can't debate people out of their beliefs. Imagine caring this much about defending a fat ass who does not care nothing about you. Usher is a parasite. He basically said what I said. He basically said what I said, but offending Vaush as well. So I point to him because he's very good at his words. How do they square debate can't change people's minds with Vaush constantly debating neo-Nazis? I mean, this is a decent, semi-decent point in the sense of debating Nazis is kind of harder for them to change their minds, but not really, because a lot of Nazis' beliefs are irrational at best and intentionally malicious at worst. And if they're irrational, you just make them realize they're irrational, and they're more likely to change later on once they come to their own self-discovery. And if they discover that's maliciously intentful or intentfully malicious, then they'll also discover why they're so maliciously intent on being against Jews and minorities, right? While people who are leftists and hate Vaush, if they think someone is a pedophile, a rapist, a racist, a Nazi, a sex pest, a misogynist, you can't do much to change your mind on that. It's already set in stone. Like, the only way you can change their mind on that is if they had to isolate themselves from the current fan base they're in and take themselves out of that environment, put in a neutral environment, and watch Vaush content. But that's not how that fucking works. This isn't no isolation of Vaush chamber where you can just shut down all your senses and just absorb Vaush content and be like, ta-da, I'm happy. No, not how that works. But yeah, I would say on the surface, this does make sense as an analogy, but if you break down further, we understand how leftists, since they technically have right opinions, it is a lot harder for them to change their minds on shit unless given a massive wave of, I don't even fucking know anymore. Like, what would even change the leftist mind anymore? Like, what, like, unironically, what would change your mind on any position as a leftist at this point? Like, what would change your mind on transition? What would change your mind on viewing another person as evil? What would change your mind on Hillary Clinton? Like, what would it take? Because, like, at this point, like, we have gotten to the point now with a lot of leftists where the information sources we get are from either factual science-based evidence or just intuitively basing our emotions off of what looks bad. And since a lot of leftists use that intuitive emotion-based logic and reasoning for, like, something they believe in, like, for example, why racism is bad, when it comes to actual individual content creators, they're not going to be that charitable to them as well. I'm coming, my baby. I haven't read enough theory to know what I am. Nice. People who know philosophy, I don't fucking care about that one. Vaushites are on a full smearing NC and Luna arc. This is just funny. Like, this is funny because, like, the whole joke and the whole shit was that when EJ was asked, why do you think the Nazis did what they did was bad? He said, oh, it's because they're irrational. And then Vaush said, well, what if the Jews control the banks? And then EJ said, no, they don't control the banks. And then Vaush said, well, did you know that the Jews technically controlled a disproportionate amount of banks in the Weimar Republic? And then he just leaves. Like, what is your answer to that question? Because he's held based on saying material conditions can form and justify any and all actions. So therefore, if the Nazis just, all of a sudden just blinked twice and looked up and see all of their financial institutions, or should I say, a decent branch of the private section of financial institution, not all of them, the decent branch of the private banks, then they could be like, oh, we're being oppressed. They're all got our money. Let's fuck them up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look here for Vaush, the transphobe master post. Oh my god! I want to join a Discord server. Okay. I can't do that and drop this video, can I? I want to do this one day. Click here for the Vaush has a disturbing preoccupation with pedophilia and bestiality master post. Click here to learn why principal socials like dislike Vaush. I can't read, obviously. Damn, it's on every post. It's on every post? No way. Let me see. Yeah, it's on every post. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, if you had to go on a pro Joe Biden Reddit, right? And every post would be like, here is why everybody who's a good person approves of Joe Biden. Here is all Joe Biden's good points and why he's a great person. Here is why Joe Biden supports black people. Here to join Joe Biden's Discord server. Like, basically, before you even look at the comments, you already have, like, your whole entire mind shifted in a sense of where you're gonna go, because you can just click on these to fully format your opinion before even your opinion is made, even after. Because, like, I feel like Reddit's whole intention is, like, you read this, you gather your knowledge, and you go down to the comment section, you see if it, like, combats with other people in a section here, right? and uh it's not a good idea to foster any, how do I say this, new ideas, I guess, if it's just constantly being reminded that, hey, this guy's a bad person, no matter what happens, no matter what he says, bad person, bad, 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 bad. No room for second thought, no room for freedom. I want to see more philosophy to see like what any of this means, because I don't know that much about philosophy to even debate this. Even if this is correct, I still don't fucking care. Because I'm not a philosophy person. I don't watch Vaush philosophy shit. Happy. Bad faith defense of Vaush by a debate bro who definitely isn't a Vaush fan. I mean, he is a Vaush fan though. He is. He is. Let me see. Oh, I remember I saw this on the subreddit. What is this person even talking about? Like, you know, I hate this shit in the sense of you're not even addressing the points anymore. And the only points you do address the philosophy shit, which I find funny, right? The shit that is vaguely ambiguous and hard to track at best is what you're really stingent and hardcore bent on policing. But when it comes to very obvious shit like, hey, you know, maybe being white isn't the end all be all to dismiss your opinions. Maybe there's more shit to this. You know, I it is what this sums up to me. It basically sums up like a lot of the controversial figures in debate bro spheres, where it's like, to put it in a better light, imagine Hassan, right? Hassan Abi has had some spicy takes, and the spicy take I say he had up to date was the 9/11 incident. Because everything after that is just like petty shit, like he's just saying cracker, or he's just saying, you know, DMCA not so bad, or it's like it's not, or a Hassan house, like it's not nowhere near as bad as 9/11, right? And the thing is, when it comes to like hearing his points or hearing what his community has to say, you come to the conclusion that no matter what is being said here, you only remember that he said 9/11 bad, and he has a house and he's a socialist, and he said DMCA bad. So as long as you remember those three things, no matter what he says, it's still bad. You can still criticize it. No matter what, even if he says water is fine, because you hate him that much, you're like, well, I mean, water can be poison. So is he saying poison water is good? And is he advocating for the end of everybody who doesn't have clean water? And does he want everybody to drink clean water as well? Like, what does he mean water is good? What the fuck is he talking? Like, it's like that type of mind from there. I can't fully formulate what that even means exactly, but yeah. Holy moly. I do want to go into Vaush spam Discord though. I'm curious. If they have like a voice channel, I'm definitely gonna check that out for sure. But alright guys, see you next time.